she thinks. Soon someone will come ambling through the woods along the trail. Voices will drift to her, and she can shout for help. Hikers will lead her through the tangle of undergrowth and the ferns, and back to the safety of the path. But no one comes. For a while, Ella follows a few narrow, winding trails. Eventually she realizes they're paths made by wild boars as they shoulder through the undergrowth. The birds trill and chirp in the trees, flitting from one place to another, as industrious as always. Somehow, at the same time, Ella's surroundings have both collapsed inward to the size of a room and expanded infinitely outward. She could be anywhere. Standing in the stillness of the trees, she suddenly hears everything, all the quiet, endless, subtle sounds of the woods. Meanwhile, the sun continues on its arc overhead, slowly disappearing into the trees. It's as if the birds are singing it down. Then it's dark. If she looks up through the swaying canopy, she can see a few stars, navigation tools for someone, maybe, but not for Ella. Eventually, her cell phone begins to vibrate, pinging with text messages from concerned friends. But she doesn't hear it in the woods. Wearing only a tank top and yoga pants, Ella has left it, along with her water bottle and wallet, in her car. She is unprepared. She had only planned to unplug for a while. So, heart hammering in her chest like a trapped bird, Ella sits at the base of a tree and waits for the first night to pass. The forest has swallowed her up. By this point, perhaps some of you are already judging Ella. But for almost any of us, her situation will be terrifying. Recently, on a camping trip to northern Michigan, my 7-year-old Rowan woke me at 4 a.m. needing the bathroom. We crawled out of the tent together and stood beneath the wet roar of the woods in complete oil-black darkness. A storm was forecast to arrive later that morning. The branches of the trees were bouncing madly in the wind, half seen. I understood, in a very small and incomplete way, how mind-stoppingly terrifying it would be to find oneself disoriented and without shelter at 4 a.m. in the darkness of the woods. Before she stepped off the trail and disappeared, Ella had been making her way through an unremarkable day. It was a very Wednesday kind of Wednesday. Suddenly, that had all changed. In one moment, her possible futures had begun to look very different. Although she couldn't have known that yet. After all, if you set up the same scenario and run it again and again, in almost every other version she stands up, swings her legs back onto the ground, refreshed, and walks back to the trail. At the parking lot, a little thirsty now and already thinking about lunch, she opens her car door, climbs inside, and glances quickly at her cell phone. No calls. Almost every time, that's what happens. But not every time. And definitely not this time. How can someone take a few steps off a well-marked trail in a busy forest reserve and disappear? I read about Ella's 2019 disappearance around the time it happened and was fascinated by the story. I followed along at home as it developed, reading updates every day. The story stayed with me for a long time afterward. It took root like a delicate sapling, its leaves unfurled in my mind. I've been lost in the woods like Ella, if only for a few panicked moments. In fact, I'm permanently lost. I have no sense of direction. If I were blindfolded and taken just a few blocks from my house in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I've lived for more than 10 years, I'd be as lost as if I'd suddenly teleported to the outskirts of Reykjavik. It takes me only a few moments to become disoriented. Crowded places, darkened woods, theme parks, cities, my own street, megastores, stairwells, little one-lane English villages in the rain, everywhere.